You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. What Donald Trump wants to do, according to Congressman Bobby Rush on the Joe Madison show yesterday. We didn't get a chance to play yesterday. I want to play the audio today, where he said Trump wants to instigate a race war. Trump wants the fight. Trump wants the tear gas. He wants to scare white people into saying, see, I'm the one who can get these people under control. I'm the one who can only protect you.
Are you going to play the clip, or you want me to respond?
No, you go ahead. You go ahead. We're setting the clip up.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I agree. And this is something that Senator Kamala Harris said, is that the biggest threat, one of the biggest threats to our national security is race and racism. And the Trump administration is using this reckoning that we have around the murders of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and Ahmaud Arbery and the Black Lives Matter movement to really execute their authoritarianism throughout the entire country. If we look at what's happening in Portland, if they will tear gas white soccer moms and white Navy veterans, then you know good and damn well what's in store for Black people. But the difference is that because there wasn't the kind of backlash and the uprising that there should have been for this authoritarianism, Chad Wolf, who's a former tennis player who must think he's in some sort of episode of Sicario or the trilogy of Sicario, is out there having people play G.I. Joe on the streets of Portland, and nobody's doing a damn thing about it. I shouldn't say nobody, but they're getting away with it, essentially, despite the protests, despite the legislation, despite the lawsuits. And this is just something that now, to your point, they're going to move over to these urban centers to antagonize and instigate and get the media back on, get their attention back on these streets and these urban centers to say to the white folks, hey, look at these big, bad Black people who are antagonizing or who are fighting with people who are in camouflage, who are supposedly there to protect. So this is all part of his authoritarianism. It's part of his white nationalist agenda, as Dr. Carr said. And it's a test run for just an increased dissension into lawlessness, not from the people of the United States, but from the Trump administration.
Greg Carr, we were to play this sound yesterday. This is Congressman Bobby Rush of Illinois speaking on the Joe Madison show on SiriusXM radio.
Second.
Let me ask you this about something that is currently going on, and that is that the president, the Trump administration, Homeland Security, they are now talking about that they may send in, and I use air quotes, law enforcement types into your city, Chicago. And this is a two-part question. Now, the mayor there said, no, this is not going to happen, and she's going to use whatever resources she can muster to make sure or deploy to make sure what happened in Portland doesn't happen in Chicago. And number two, I just had a discussion, argument with a caller who took exception with the fact that I made the point, we don't need military-styled weapons, battlefield weapons, in our local police department. Can you respond to both of those points?
Well, I think history is, to me, my dear brother, history is the ultimate teacher of the past. History can project the present, and history certainly can kind of predict the future. And as we look at the history of, to me, what Trump is doing, he's picked up, dusted off, and he's a student of the Ku Klux Klan. All right, and this is nothing but a book out of the annals and out of the strategies of the techniques of Ku Klux Klan. Anytime you send, I don't care if they're federal agents, I don't care whatever they are. Anytime you send an armed militia, armed group of basically white men. We have not seen any blacks in this contingency of federal agents. But anytime you send a group of armed bandits, outlaws, no in a uniform, no names, no insignias, no identification, and you just snatch up innocent people or innocent people, and you take them and you take them off to some unrecognized, unknown place. You are really terrorizing a nation. You're terrorizing community. And for Trump to talk about sending federal agents in Chicago, we won't stand for it. And I think that what Trump is really trying to do, my friend, I think that Trump is really trying to instigate a race war. He wants to have a reaction. If, in fact, these armed agents are deployed into Chicago, there's some guys in Chicago that ain't going to accept that. All right? They're not. If he sends them in, he better not send them into the hardcore, the south side, west side. He better keep them, send them on to the genteel north side. Because if they come in, then I'm not advocating that, but I just know that that's what Trump's game plan. Trump wants to instigate a race war. He want to have black folks fighting white folks, so he can rise up and say, I'm the real grand wizard of the Klan, and I'm the president. You reelect me. That's what he's trying to do. He's trying to play to the fears, to the racial animus that exists among certain white people, and he will do everything and anything to that because he wants to be reelected at all costs. Now, we don't need in Chicago. We don't need federal agents. We need federal aid. All right, send some money here to create some summer jobs. That will do more to curtail outbreaks of violence in Chicago than any federal troop could possibly or agent could possibly do. Send aid, don't send federal agents.
That is the point that we were talking about yesterday, that we can talk about this whole deal about how do you have violence in communities. But John Hope Bryant always makes this point, the founder of Operation Hope. He said, you can't show me the level of violence or riots in the community with a credit score of 700 or higher.
Well, see, this is the problem, I think, when we don't begin any analysis, including an economic analysis, when we don't put race at the center, because there are people with high credit scores who live in Chicago who will be harmed. Many of the mothers who are out in Oregon, most of them, in fact, are non-black. They're white, and many of them have excellent credit scores. Didn't stop them from trying to sing a lullaby, hands up, don't shoot, and getting tear gassed by these Klansmen that Trump has recruited. And make no mistake, by evoking the federal troops, by evoking the Customs and Border Patrol and Department of Homeland Security and Federal Protective Service and FBI, U.S. Marshals, Trump has under his control through the Attorney General, Bill Barr, they have a group that is skewered toward white nationalism. So, Bobby Rush is right, and he would know, after all, two of his comrades were slaughtered by local police in 1969, Mark Clark and Fred Hampton. And so he knows. But, again, this strategy is very clear. They are going to either try to steal the upcoming federal election or figure out a way to either nullify it or not have it at all. And let's understand, again, Roland, you've been talking about this. I mean, the Congress, House of Representatives, passed the HERO Act back $3 trillion back in May. McConnell will not bring it to the floor. Steve Mnuchin today talking about people, we won't give people $600 a week. Let's say however much money you make, if you're making $300, we'll give you 70% of that. That's fair. This man got the nerve to talk through his mumble mouth, jaw-wired child of privilege behind about something that's fair. But the point is that McConnell won't bring it up on the Senate side, but yet today he introduced a motion to stop discussion and debate over the nomination of William Scott Harvey to be on the federal bench for the Western District of Pennsylvania, Western Pennsylvania, United States District Court. Why is that important in this instance? It's legal to send federal law enforcement into state and local situations if you have probable cause. Now, Bill Barr has said that it's the protests that are triggering this. The protests are triggering this. So Tony Barr is looking for probable cause to hold up in court. So when Black Lives Matter and everyone else goes to court, they're going to the branch of the government that the White Nationalist Party has worked over the last 3 years to stack. This is why it's so important to register to vote. People say, oh, I don't know about voting. They're all the same parties. Okay, everybody says all the same parties. You can tune out now and get ready to get your pump shot guns. And I know you're training for survivalists and stuff. Get ready to go out in the street, because what they are moving toward now is a situation where they don't have to formally declare martial law. And Trump ticked off the stories. His mind is clearly being eaten by whatever disease is eating his brain. But he remembered all the cities. He remembered Detroit. He remembered New York. He said, oh, Oakland is a mess. That's because these are documents that are being talked about over and over in these meetings he's on the periphery of. He doesn't have a good memory for things. Repetition makes that sink in. So to conclude, they are looking for probable cause to send these troops in. They're going to send in the shock troops who are the most racist of law enforcement in this country. And unlike James Meredith in 1962 at Ole Miss, unlike 1992 in LA, the probable cause that they're going to use or try to use is the rebellion itself. So Bobby Rush is right. It is about race war, and it's also about war against anyone who will stand in the way of the White Nationalist Party.
All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment.
It's time to be smart. When we control our institutions, we win. This is the most important news show on television of any racial background. Y'all put $2, $3, $4, $5, $10, $15, $20, $30 on this and keep this going. What you've done, Roland, since this crisis came out in full bloom. Anybody watching this, tell your friends, go back and look at the last 2 weeks, especially of Roland Martin Unfiltered. I mean, hell, go back and look at the last 2 days. You've had sitting United States senators today, Klobuchar and Harris. Whatever you have that you can bring to Roland Martin Unfiltered to support it, please do, because this information may literally save your life.
Watch Roland Martin Unfiltered daily at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope, or go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com.